If Odie wins, it comes to Irwindale. The house push it to Irwindale. And it's going to Irwindale. And pushing it to Irwindale.
It's coming down to Irwindale.
Championship's coming down to Irwindale. It's coming down to Irwindale. Because we're going to Irwindale. That pushes it to Irwindale.
I wonder if the championship fight's going to Irwindale. FD Utah was a friggin' blast. The venue was gorgeous. The state itself is gorgeous. The weather is amazing. The people of Utah, if you're watching this, you're so nice. It's awesome. It was honestly an amazing experience, but this isn't a travel agency synopsis of Utah. This is the people's review of Formula Drift Utah. We're gonna jump from qualifying to battles, or in this case, seating bracket to battles, and tell what all happened during this event. Now, to give some context, if you are watching this and you maybe are not familiar with the format of Formula Drift, instead of qualifying, where in drifting, when you qualify, you usually have 2 runs, where you need to lay down the best run possible. And your run is dictated by commitment, which is how much throttle you use, how snappy your car is, the line of your car, which is dictated by clipping points, putting your car into those clipping points, and again, adding that commitment, as well as angle, so how much angle your car can carry. Instead of that, Formula Drift has a battle, where you have to have a lead run and a chase run. Whoever wins that gets to move on to the main day competition. So let's jump right into what happened. But before we get into the actual battles, we most definitely have to talk about the track. What was that outer zone? Thinking the first outer zone. What was that, dude? What was that? Honestly, FD, Formula Drift, if you're watching this, hello. Thank you again for watching. However, I must ask, what on God's great green earth was that first outer zone? I mean, it was horrendous. It literally looked like a Nike symbol. From the spotter's tower, I couldn't tell where people were placing their cars into that first zone. And I bet for damn sure people within the car couldn't tell where they were placing their car in the damn zone. It was probably a guessing game, from what I can assume. The cones designating track edge were there. I mean, sometimes we're there. During the prospect seating bracket, you know, the up-and-comers, not the big dogs, the prospect seating bracket, they weren't there. You know, the things to designate where track edge was. So that definitely became an issue. You went on and off a racetrack, which means you went over rumble strips twice. 2 more opportunities than you'd want to DB the tire. I mean, genuinely, it was not a great track, but it still led to some great battles. Now, did it showcase Formula Drift driving level and Formula Drift drivers to its fullest extent? No, but I will give it to the drivers. Good on them. There were some amazing battles. But hey, who am I to judge? I don't work there, you know? Who am I to judge? All right, let's proceed here. Okay, first things first, prospect seating bracket. We already explained what the seating bracket was. Prospect seating bracket was absolute dog water. To go off on another little tangent here, I actually have a little opinion on seating bracket within prospect. I think it shouldn't exist. See, the idea of a seating bracket in pro is fantastic. It's the big dogs. It's the best of the best. Everyone deserves to be there. Everyone can hold close, competitive, really solid tandems there. They're not flying off track every other run. Prospect, on the other hand, they're the up-and-comers. They're trying to prove themselves. And because of the licensing system within American Formula Drift, a lot of them are still learning. And what comes with that is the inability to hold solid tandems, as well as stay on track, unfortunately. Granted, there were a few pretty solid battles within the seating bracket, one of which being Matthew Bystrak and Dmitry Brutsky. That was a really solid battle there. I also spotted for Matt Bystrak. Good job, Matt. You did fantastic. But that's besides the point. The rest of the battles, though, for the most part, was absolutely dreadful. In my opinion, I feel 2 normal qualifying runs, like in every other drift series, would actually benefit Prospect rather than the seating bracket. No matter what, the viewership for Prospect qualifying will be down. Why I bring that up, one of the arguments for the seating bracket is that qualifying ran too long and it never got good viewership, and the seating bracket was supposed to fix that. However, it has, and for some rounds it really hasn't. But I really do feel like if we could get the 24 to 28 guys and girls who could absolutely throw down a super solid qualifying run and do it every single time, I feel like some of the shaky and frankly sketchy driving we see within the seating bracket will be nullified. It'd also help if everyone had a simulator, but that's a different discussion for a different day. And as well as every driver who deserves to get in will get in. I understand, it could help with media and all that good stuff, but from a business perspective, if I'm a company investing into a driver, from a media point of view, I would rather see 2 pretty solid runs than a battle tandem run where for 50% of the time you're off course or you hit the wall or you're 9 meters away from the lead car. I'm just saying, that's just my opinion. Anyways, let's move on. Pro seating was actually super solid. There were some fantastic battles there. It started off with a bang, literally. Unfortunately, Dmitry Brutsky blew up his engine, which is, again, very unfortunate. And Federico Sharifo and Diego Higa had quite a shunt. Made it for some great video, but very unfortunate for both of those parties. But there was some fantastic driving. Hobson, Hansen, and Haitley, a tongue twister there, were absolutely killing it. But the one fault with the pro seating bracket is how there's only really 9-ish battles for the whole seating bracket, because half of the seating field don't show up. Whether it's because they couldn't show up for some other reason, or they're only doing a half season, or they're only doing 2 events, or they've only done Long Beach and there's been no word on why they haven't showed up the rest of the rounds. I'd love to see that Dodge Viper drive again. One of my favorite cars. Where are you? And that really sucks as a spectator, because you pay money to go watch the seating bracket and you expect some good battles, but when half the people don't show up, what are you gonna do? So we've covered both of the seating brackets. Now let's move to Pro Spec Comp Day. And there was some, once again, fantastic driving. This round promoted a lot of good driving. As much as I hated the course, there was some pretty decent driving for what it was. Of course, in the context of the course. Anyways, the first battle of the top 32 was pretty much the championship decider. Connor O'Sullivan versus Dmitry Brutsky. Now, for some context, Connor O'Sullivan in the white RTS BMW E46 M3, and then Tommy Lemaire in the red XPN Nissan Silvia S14.9, I think it's an S14.9, were the 2 championship contenders for Pro Spec. Connor leading Tommy by only 2 points moving into Utah. So that means every battle really counted. And that battle with Dmitry and Connor was rather questionable. It went multiple OMTs. I want to say it was 3, but don't quote me on that. But in my opinion, it genuinely should have been decided after the first battle. In my eyes, the first battle was won by O'Sullivan, and then the next battle should have been Dmitry. And then after that, it was just a mess. But what ended up happening, Dmitry won that battle, Connor was knocked out, and then Tommy won his top 32 battle, automatically making him the 2024 Formula Drift Pro Spec champion. Up until about the grade 8, there's still a lot of off-roading, a lot of crashes, and then the driving really cleaned up there. Dmitry Brutsky, Cody Buchanan, Austin Mata, and Margaritas Castanedas laid it down, dude. They were driving so well. It was super awesome to see. Honestly, top 16, top 8, and on, there was some fantastic driving. Yes, there was some off-roading, but there was some fantastic driving for the Pro Spec field. It's great to see the up-and-comers of the sport doing well. And congratulations to Tommy Lemaire, Connor O'Sullivan, and Austin Mata for getting their pro licenses. Hopefully, we see them out there on the pro field next year. And the next day, of course, is Pro Battles. God, were they spicy. Chris Forsberg, no bias here. He was looking the best he's driven all year. It was dope to see, honestly, when a driver isn't doing the best they've done and then they start to feel comfortable and drive well. We love to see it. And then Odie Bakshi's, Connor Shanahan, and James Dean were machines. I don't know what was happening. It was crazy. They were driving so damn well. It was ridiculous. And honestly, there weren't many battles that stuck out as controversial. The past rounds, since Formula Drift Atlanta, which was round 2, we're now on round 7, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding each round. Hitting people and the wrong person being dealt at fault, sandbagging, driving weirdly, not being on throttle correctly, etc., etc. This event, there didn't seem to be a lot of it, which was nice. Not everyone likes drama. The only 2 instances where there was a bit of drama and a little bit of controversy was Dylan Hughes versus James Dean, and then Odie Bakshis versus James Dean. And because this is the People's Review, we'll touch on those real quick. So, Dylan Hughes versus James Dean, there was contact when James was chasing Dylan. What happened was, Dylan wasn't on throttle in time in an Excel zone, so what happened, James hit him and essentially pushed him off track. Thankfully, the judges saw that Dylan wasn't on throttle and gave Dylan the fault, therefore letting James move on through the competition. Now, Odie versus James. Now, I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on and say they were judging this battle pretty harshly because this was the championship decider. If James won this battle, he'd be crowned champion at the round before the final round, which has never happened before. And if Odie won, he still had a chance in Irwindale. So what happened was, when Odie was chasing James, Odie made contact with James's front wheels, which pushed James off the track. In my eyes, it just looked like Odie was being a little too aggressive and hit James. However, in the judges' eyes, they went with James. Now, do I agree with this? No. Am I going to make a big deal about it? No, because it was still a good battle. But this goes back to some of my previous videos on Formula Drift and being consistent with judging. It just needs to be more consistent. Because if James hit Dylan in an Excel zone when Dylan was inherently not accelerating, then yes, Dylan should be dealt at fault. But when James is accelerating, is on throttle, and Odie still hits him, well, that should be the chase's fault, not the lead's fault. It also creates a better story because we don't have a champion at the round before the final round, and then Jared and Jacob could say that the fight is going to Irwindale probably 50 times before the live stream ends. Mathematically, there isn't really a fight. All James has to do is pull up to the line during top 32, and he wins the championship. That's how far James is ahead in the championship. He literally just has to pull up to the line in top 32. Honestly, besides that, hats off to Formula Drift for an absolutely fantastic event. One of my favorite events this year, granted, I've only been to Atlanta and Englishtown, which were always going to be the best. But Utah was honestly fantastic. And if you enjoyed this style of video, giving more of an off-the-dome piece of content, the People's Review of FD Utah, like this video and let me know down below, because I had a lot of fun making this video. And if you enjoy it, heck, I'll keep making it. With that said, like and subscribe. Stay tuned on this channel. We release videos every Monday and Thursday. I know it's Friday. It's been a very busy week with Boundless Racing. Chill out. With that said, I'll catch you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.